This was my 4th year as Spencer Sterling's trophy girlfriend. He got bored and asked to break up. I planned to do my usual routine, cry, scream. Threatened to end it all, just like countless times before. Perform deep devotion, satisfy his ego. But then floating text appeared in the air before my eyes. The comments, they said Spencer was serious this time. He had fallen for someone else. This was truly the last time we would meet. Instantly, I went silent. I shed a few silent tears, while using my pinky finger to hook the stack of cash on the floor, rolling it into my palm, and tucking it deep into my sleeve. The male lead is for real this time. The supporting female still thinks he's flirting. Yeah, he just wants to dump her to chase our princess. She keeps clinging. It's just pathetic. I saw these floating comments 3 minutes ago, right when Spencer mentioned breaking up. Usually when Spencer threatened to break up, he was just throwing a tantrum, wanting to see me beg and say I couldn't live without him. I had just brewed up some tears, ready to wail when the text blocked the sound in my throat. I looked up. The man in front of me was as immaculate as ever, in a black dress shirt, cuffs folded perfectly, but the watch on his wrist wasn't the Patek Philippe I bought him for his birthday last year. It was a modest mid-range brand. A brand the old Spencer never would have touched. Comments continued. She has zero self-awareness. Can't she see his dark face? Take the money and get lost, girl. I looked into Spencer's eyes, as I had memorized over the last 3 years. This time I didn't need to squint to see the disgust. The eyes that used to fake affection no longer held my reflection. In that moment, I knew the comments were real, so I choked back the scene I had prepared. My voice came out raspier than intended. So how much is the severance package? Spencer froze, clearly not expecting that question. He pulled out a stack of bills and threw them into the air. Red $100 bills rained down on the floor. He looked at me coldly, waiting for my reaction. I pursed my lips and stood there. The text scrolled rapidly before my eyes. Pick it up. This is your last chance to cash out. The male lead sees her true colors. Now he's humiliating her on purpose. He finally realizes that everyone else just wants his money only. Our princess is pure and uncorrupted. But didn't she date him for 3 years? Breaking up this ugly? Is the male lead really the good guy? What do you know? She's just a gold digger. She took the money. She has no right to talk about dignity. As long as you're alive, you have a right to dignity. While the comments argued, I had already squatted down, gathered the scattered bills, organized them neatly and placed them in my purse. The comments were harsh, but they were right about one thing. This was my last payday from Spencer. I had to make it count. Maybe my scupango technique was too professional. When I turned to leave, I glanced back and saw Spencer's face was dripping with darkness. 3 years of intense training almost made me instinctively tear up and profess my love. But then more mocking comments floated by. I snapped out of it, bit my lip and said, "Dolly, or should you leave first?" Spencer didn't speak. He stormed out, face cold as ice. I watched his back, thinking about the designer bags and jewelry he gave me over the years. My heart actually ached. Only now did I dare let the tears blur my vision. This might really be the last time. Goodbye, Spencer Sterling. Whoa. Why does the supporting female look actually heartbroken? Doesn't she only care about money? Why is she crying like that? I saw the comments and quickly wiped my face. When I looked up, Spencer had turned around in the distance. He was looking at me, his expression complicated. Terrified he might ask for a refund. I turned sideways and power walked away. My white sneakers stepped into a loose paving stone, splashing dirty mud all over the toe. I admit my exit was a bit messy, but at least I got away safely that night. In my rental apartment, I counted cash while sending out resumes. I deposited the $7,000 severance Spencer gave me immediately after leaving his gated community. If he had given me just $3,000 more, I would have hit my savings goal of $500,000. The economy is bad. I didn't dare invest in stocks. I put it all in CDs. Low interest but zero risk. After balancing the ledger, I lay on the bed and finally had time to be sad. Missed the money, sure. But I missed Spencer too. When I graduated, I got scammed out of my savings by a fake landlord, then worked an unpaid internship where they fired me on the last day. I was starving when I met Spencer. Maybe when your luck hits rock bottom it bounces. I was plain. But I was exactly Spencer's type. He was generous. 10 grand a month allowance plus expensive gifts. I couldn't repay him with money, so I repaid him with ego boosts. He liked me clingy. He liked me helpless. I even took acting classes to provide better emotional value. I could turn 30% affection into 100% devotion. But luck comes fast and leaves faster. I stared at the ceiling wondering where I'd find work tomorrow. Then the strange text started scrolling again. What is the male lead doing? He let Princess find out about the supporting female. Now Princess is mad, poor baby. If I recall, the supporting female dated him first. Why is the heroine mad? Stop being a troll. She was just a canary. A sugar baby doesn't count as a girlfriend. The comments started fighting. My eyes were getting blurry. Then a bright red comment stopped the war. The male lead is crazy. He wants to bring the supporting female in to make Princess jealous. Let's see if she has the shame to show up. The second the text vanished, my phone rang. Come to Club Vane room 305. Spencer said. Short and concise. I remembered the last comment and felt guilty. We broke up. Maybe it's not 5,000, but 15. However, 30,000. I'm on my way. I hopped on my bicycle and rode against the night wind toward the location. The comments floating above the road were roasting me alive. Let them roast 30 grand for a cameo. They'd run faster than me if they had the chance. Spencer wanted me to act like a simp in front of the heroine. At this point, I knew my place. But the moment I walked into the VIP room, the honey on my lips froze because the person standing there, the princess the comments worshipped, was Jenna, the fake heiress who kicked me out of my own biological family. Facing Jenna's disdainful glare, the 30 grand suddenly didn't seem worth it. I went silent. Spencer called me over. I responded absent-mindedly, sensing my lack of enthusiasm. Spencer's face darkened. He ignored Jenna, who he was supposedly obsessed with, and frowned at me until the comments mentioned the heroine again. He reacted like a puppet. He grabbed me and pulled me into his arms right in front of Jenna. Then, as expected, Jenna's eyes turned red with anger. In that instant, I felt so tired. I put my hand on his chest and pushed us an arm's length apart. I dug around in my pocket for a while, finally pulling out a set of keys and tossing them on the table. I only came to return the keys you left at my place. I tried to sound relieved, but my voice shook. I didn't actually know what keys these were. Spencer's front door was biometric, but I bet Spencer didn't know either. Someone snickered. Spencer's friends. They always looked down on me like the scrolling text. They probably thought I was playing hard to get. A nameless fire rose in my chest. I pointed a trembling finger at Spencer. A good ex should be like a corpse, dead and silent. Don't contact me again. Do you understand? I didn't have the courage to look at him again. I turned and ran. I ran all the way out of the club, before I dared to lean against a wall and sob. Spencer dumping me was fine, but choosing Jenna, that hurt. When Jenna stole my parents and kicked me out of the house, I was 17. Half of the hunger and humiliation I suffered these past years was her doing. I was waiting to save enough capital to pull a Revenge of the Fallen heiress plot. How did Spencer become her backer? I bit my lip, afraid to make a sound. Shaking with silent sobs, the floating comments went quiet. Damn, why does she look actually pitiful? Yeah, I'm kind of feeling bad for her. What do you mean kind of pitiful? I am objectively miserable. Okay, finally. I couldn't hold it. I squatted down and wailed. A tissue appeared in front of my face. The person holding it had one hand over his ear, looking at me with a complicated expression. You love him that much enough to torture yourself? It was Sawyer Sterling, Spencer's younger brother. I didn't speak. He squatted down and wiped my messy face. I used to think you were just a glutton who loved money. I didn't know you could love so genuinely. You cursed him out in public just to help him move on. His tone was awkward, a blush creeping up his neck. I thought for a long time before speaking again. Chloe, be with me. I'll treat you better than my brother did. I looked up, staring at him. He scratched his head nervously. I mean it, be my girlfriend. I won't let anyone bully you. Whatever my brother gave you, I'll give you too. 10 grand a month deal. Okay, we're dating. Sawyer Sterling froze. His hand, which had been awkwardly patting my shoulder, stopped midair. He looked at me like I had just spoken ancient Sumerian. Wait, what? 10 grand a month, I repeated, wiping my nose with the tissue he gave me, plus performance bonuses for family events, public appearances, and emotional labor. Standard contract. No sex unless explicitly negotiated in an addendum, which will cost extra. Do you take Venmo or direct deposit? Sawyer blinked. The blush on his neck vanished, replaced by a look of sheer bewilderment. I just confessed my feelings to you, he stammered. I poured my heart out. And you're negotiating. Sawyer. I sighed, standing up and dusting off my knees. Let's be real. You don't love me. You're just rebelling against your perfect older brother. You saw him dump his toy. So you want to pick it up to prove you're your own man. It's classic sibling rivalry. The floating text above his head went wild. Damn, she clocked him. Is she a mind reader? That's exactly what the plot summary says. Wait, so she knows she's in a novel? No way. She's just smart. A cynical queen. Sawyer looked offended. That's not true. I think you're interesting. You have depth. I have debt, I corrected. Emotional and financial. Look, do you want to date me to piss off Spencer or not? Because if you do, my rate is non-negotiable. I'm a professional. Sawyer stared at me for a long moment. Then a slow, crooked grin spread across his face. It was less polished than Spencer's, more boyish. Fine, he said. 12 grand. But you have to wear that blue dress you wore to the charity gala last year. The one that made Spencer look like he wanted to murder everyone. Deal, I said, shaking his hand. Welcome to the Chloe experience, platinum tier. As we shook hands, the floating text shifted. Plot twist. The supporting female is speedrunning the villain arc. Sawyer is just a pawn. She's going to eat him alive. Team Chloe. Take the money and run. I ignored them. I had rent to pay. Dating Sawyer was different from dating Spencer. Spencer wanted a fragile flower he could protect and then discard. Sawyer wanted a partner in crime. He took me to motorcycle races instead of operas. He ate street tacos instead of Michelin star foam. And he made sure Spencer saw every minute of it. 2 days later, at the Sterling family brunch, the drama began. I walked in on Sawyer's arm, wearing a modest but elegant sundress I bought on sale. Spencer was there with Jenna. Jenna looked like she had raided a costume shop for Rich Girl Starter Pack. Too much tweed, too many pearls. She glared at me as if I were a cockroach on her wedding cake. Spencer, on the other hand, looked like he had swallowed a lemon. What is she doing here? Spencer hissed, ignoring his own date to glare at his brother. Chloe is my girlfriend, Sawyer announced cheerfully, pulling out a chair for me. Mom, Dad, you remember Chloe, right? Mrs. Sterling, a woman who looked like she was carved from marble and disapproval, sighed. Ideally, no. But unfortunately, yes. Hello, Mrs. Sterling, I said with my best professional smile. Lovely to see you again. That brooch is exquisite. Mrs. Sterling touched her brooch, slightly mollified. It's vintage. It suits you, I said smoothly. Above the table, the text floated. Look at Jenna. She's fuming. Why is the ex-girlfriend better at this than the real heiress? Jenna is about to blow it. Jenna, sensing she was losing the spotlight, suddenly spoke up. So Chloe, what do you do now that? Well, now that you're not living off Spencer. The table went silent. I picked up my water glass. Oh, I'm into asset management. Specifically, high-risk, high-reward emotional investments. I winked at Sawyer. Sawyer choked on his mimosa. Spencer slammed his fork down. Enough. Sawyer, this is a joke. You picked her up out of the trash just to annoy me. Trash? Sawyer's smile vanished. Watch your mouth, Spencer. She's a gold digger. Spencer shouted. She took 7 grand to leave me. She has no pride. 7 grand. Jenna laughed, a high, tinkling sound that grated on the nerves. That's it? Wow. You're cheap. I looked at Jenna. I looked at Spencer. And then I looked at the floating text. Male lead is losing points. Jenna is so unlikable. Why is she the heroine? Chloe, destroy them. I took a deep breath. Time to earn my paycheck. 7 grand was the severance package, I said calmly. It was calculated based on 3 years of service, factoring in inflation and the emotional labor of listening to you talk about your crypto portfolio. Honestly, I undercharged. Spencer turned purple. Mrs. Sterling actually cracked a smile. She hid it behind her napkin, but I saw it. And as for you, Jenna, I continued, turning to my stepsister. You might want to check the authenticity card on that Chanel bag. The stitching looks a little crooked, just like your backstory. Jenna gasped, clutching her bag. How dare you? Okay, brunch is served, Sawyer announced, looking like he had won the lottery. That night, Sawyer transferred $12,000 to my account. You were amazing, he texted. Spencer is losing his mind. He's been texting me nonstop asking if we slept together. I replied. Did you tell him it's an addendum? Sawyer. I told him you're the love of my life. He broke a vase. I put the phone down and looked at my bank balance. $519,000. I had hit my goal. Technically, I could retire. I could move to a small town, open a bakery, and never look at a rich person again. But then I saw the text floating near my ceiling fan. The plot is changing. The villainous route is unlocked. If she leaves now, Jenna wins. Jenna gets the Sterling Empire. Don't let Jenna win. She stole your life. I stared at the words. Jenna. My parents. My adoptive parents, the ones who raised me before they found out I was switched at birth, had abandoned me the second Jenna appeared. They cut me off, erased me from the family photos, and let Jenna humiliate me. And now, Jenna was about to marry into the Sterling family, one of the most powerful dynasties in the country. If she did, she would crush me. Not just socially, but for real. She would make sure I never worked again. I couldn't leave. Not yet. I needed to break them up. The next few weeks were a masterclass in psychological warfare. I became the perfect girlfriend for Sawyer. I helped him organize his chaotic business ventures. I charmed his clients. I made him look stable, capable, and mature. Meanwhile, Jenna was imploding. Without a villain to bully, she had to rely on her own personality. And her personality was terrible. She was rude to the staff, demanding with Spencer, and clingy with Mrs. Sterling. The comments were relentless. Why is the heroine so annoying? Spencer looks tired. I miss Chloe. At least she was funny. One rainy Tuesday, Spencer cornered me at a gallery opening. Sawyer was getting drinks. You look happy, Spencer said, his voice dripping with bitterness. I am. I lied. Sawyer is great. He listens. He's a child, Spencer scoffed. He doesn't know you like I do. He doesn't know you sleep with socks on. He doesn't know you hate cilantro. People change, Spencer, I said, looking at a pretentious abstract painting. I love cilantro now. Tastes like money. Spencer grabbed my arm. Stop it. Stop pretending. I know you're doing this to get back at me. It's working, okay? I'm miserable. Jenna is, she's a nightmare. She's not you. I looked at his hand on my arm. He's wavering. The male lead is regretting it. Kiss him. Get back together. No. Don't do it, girl. He's trash. I gently removed his hand. You wanted a princess, Spencer, I whispered. You got one. Don't complain just because the crown is heavy. I walked away, but I knew I had planted the seed. The climax happened at the Sterling annual charity ball. Jenna was wearing a dress that cost more than my college tuition. I was wearing the blue dress Sawyer requested. Sawyer and I were dancing. He looked handsome in his tux. You know, he said softly, spinning me. I think I might actually be falling for you. For real this time. I looked up at him. His eyes were sincere. My heart gave a painful little squeeze. Sawyer was sweet. He was kind. He deserved better than a mercenary like me. Sawyer, I began. Don't. Before I could finish, the music stopped abruptly. Jenna was on the stage, holding a microphone. She looked drunk. Excuse me, everyone, she slurred. I have an announcement. Spencer and I are getting engaged. Silence. Spencer looked horrified. He hadn't proposed. Jenna, get down, Spencer hissed, rushing to the stage. No. Jenna shouted. I know you bought the ring. I found the receipt. She pulled a crumpled piece of paper out of her clutch. The floating text appeared, huge and red. Oh no. That's not a receipt for a ring. That's the receipt for Chloe's severance package. She thinks it's a down payment on a diamond? This is going to be good. Jenna waved the paper. $7,000. For a deposit. Where is it, Spencer? The crowd murmured. $7,000? For a sterling engagement ring? That was pocket change. It was insulting. Spencer snatched the paper. Jenna, you idiot. This is a bank transfer slip. For what? Jenna demanded. For Chloe. Spencer shouted, losing his composure. It was her severance pay. I paid her to leave so I could date you. The room gasped. All eyes turned to me. I stood there, the grieving victim. I let a single, perfect tear roll down my cheek. You paid her? Jenna screeched. You paid your ex to leave? Yes. Spencer yelled. Because she wouldn't leave otherwise. Because I thought you were worth it. But clearly I was wrong. Jenna slapped him. Spencer slapped her back. Okay, he didn't, but he looked like he wanted to. He just grabbed her wrist. It was chaos. Security rushed the stage. Mrs. Sterling fainted. I turned to Sawyer. Well, that was worth 12 grand. The scandal destroyed Spencer's reputation. The board of directors voted to remove him as CEO, citing erratic behavior and poor judgment. Jenna was exposed as a fraud. The internet dug into her past, aided by a few anonymous tips I may have sent, and found out she wasn't even the real heiress. The DNA test had been faked. My real parents came crawling back to me, begging for forgiveness. I sent them a bill for 18 years of back pay. And Sawyer? Sawyer became the new CEO. I sat in his office, looking at the city view. So, Sawyer said, loosening his tie. I guess the contract is over. Spencer is ruined. Jenna is gone. You won. We won, I corrected. Right. He looked down at his desk. So, you'll be leaving now? Taking your $500,000 and opening that bakery. I looked at him. I looked at the floating text. Happy ending unlocked. Will she stay or will she go? Sawyer is a good boy. Keep him. I walked over to him and sat on the edge of his desk. Actually, I said, I was thinking of renegotiating. Sawyer looked up, hope in his eyes. Renegotiating? Yeah. The bakery market is saturated. And I've grown accustomed to a certain lifestyle. I leaned in and straightened his collar. But the rates have gone up. CEO girlfriend is a more demanding role. Sawyer laughed. He pulled me into a kiss. Name your price, he murmured. Your heart, I whispered. And 10% equity in the company. Done. Epilogue. We got married 2 years later. I didn't invite my parents. I didn't invite Spencer. But I did invite the floating comments. As I walked down the aisle, I looked up at the air. She looks beautiful. Best heroine ever. Finally, a smart protagonist. Goodbye, Chloe. We'll miss you. I winked at the empty air. The text faded away, dissolving into sparkles. I squeezed Sawyer's hand. Ready, he asked. Always, I said. And for the first time in 4 years, There was no text, no commentary, no script. Just me, the money, and the boy who loved me. And honestly, it was the best plot twist of all.